In its reply, INEC questioned why the party's national secretary did not sign the letter. However, the National Policy Secretary of the party, Honorable Debo Ologunagba, clarified that the notice to INEC was a courtesy, simply informing the commission of the party's milestone, its 100th NEC meeting. He emphasizes that INEC has no constitutional power to interfere, as the meeting is neither a congress, an election, nor a merger, as defined under electoral guidelines.
By a motion moved by the governor of Oyo State, seconded by the minority leader in the Senate, Senator Abamoro, it was approved that the 100 meeting should take place. And then there was a further direction that INEC should be informed by way of courtesy. It must be clear that INEC has no role whatsoever in participating in regular meetings of these bodies that I've gone to. They have no role at all. And it must be clear to the whole world, so that if there are issues that have come, I'll come presently to the issues that have been raised in the last 1 week. And then you can see some of the distressing body thing coming from INEC, which of course is very unfortunate. We'll go into that. But having established this background, the background is that these two meetings, as provided in the constitution for the bodies, INEC has no role. However, there's exception. And those are the issues that the Supreme Court has said they are internal affairs of the parties.
Honorable Ologunagba reiterated that the meeting is a statutory one and will proceed as scheduled on June 30, 2025.
Well, you have rightly placed the situation that it appears that it's just getting worse. And I cannot but agree with you that it appears to be getting worse. Because I think what happened yesterday, to say the least, is very disgraceful. And it's unfortunate that those who claim to be the leaders of the party are now being responsible for the kind of mayhem that was witnessed inside the hallowed National Executive Council Hall, where decisions, far-reaching decisions concerning the ought to be taking place. But what did we see? This cough, attack. It's so unfortunate that the People's Democratic Party, which I covered as a reporter, the People's Democratic Party, where I was elected as a National Public Secretary, can be reduced to the streets. It's unfortunate. There's no need going into the blame game. I think we should position the situation the way it is. Feel free, on this same platform between you and I don't want to go into the issue of NEC any longer. The lie they hold, the lie they don't hold. Like Bala Mohammed warned, the leaders of the party are at the door point of exiting. And that is the honest truth. Take it or leave it. That's the situation in which Damagum has pushed the party to. So it is, to me, a lazy man argument for you to begin to apportion blame to others, whereas we are the architect of the crisis. We were brought in as acting chairman through the provisions of the PDP constitution as amended in 2017. That's how you were brought in. Now, respect the position of that constitution. You are saying you are blaming other people. You put your foot on my own foot. And I said, take away your foot because you are matching me. You are telling me that, oh, you are sorry. But you have refused to remove your foot from mine. I mean, to me, it's odious. And I don't see any sincerity in what Ambassador Ilyas Damagum said at the BOT. How can he come around and be saying that, oh, leaders, even members of BOT, revert back to your own position as Deputy National Chairman and allow the North Central to bring a substantive chairman and let us see whether the challenges in the party will not abate. It's a straightforward matter. There's no need for pretense. No room for it.
We encourage you to to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
INEC's response to a letter that the PDP sent notifying the Commission of the scheduled NEC meeting. In its reply, INEC questioned why the party's national secretary did not sign the letter. However, the National Policy Secretary of the party, Honorable Degbo Ologunagba, clarified that the notice to INEC was a courtesy, simply informing the Commission of the party's milestone, its 100th NEC meeting. He emphasizes that INEC has no constitutional power to interfere, as the meeting is neither a Congress, an election, nor a merger, as defined under electoral guidelines.
By a motion moved by the governor of Oyo State, seconded by the minority leader in the Senate, Senator Abamoro, it was approved that the 100 meeting should take place. And then there was a further direction that INEC should be informed by way of courtesy. It must be clear that INEC has no role whatsoever in participating in regular meetings of these bodies that are gone to you. They have no role at all. And it must be clear to the whole world, so that if there are issues that have come, I'll come presently to the issues that have been raised in the last 1 week. And then you can see some of the distressing body thing coming from INEC, which of course is very unfortunate. We'll go into that. But I haven't established this background. The background is that these two meetings, as provided in the constitution for the bodies, INEC has no role. However, there's an exception. And those are the issues that the Supreme Court has said they are internal affairs of the parties.
Honorable Ologunagba reiterated that the meeting is a statutory one and will proceed as scheduled on June 30, 2025.
Well, you have rightly placed the situation that it appears that it's just getting worse. And I cannot but agree with you that it appears to be getting worse. Because I think what happened yesterday, to say the least, is very disgraceful. And it's unfortunate that those who claim to be the leaders of the party are now being responsible for the kind of mayhem that was witnessed inside the hallowed National Executive Council Hall, where decisions, far-reaching decisions concerning the party ought to be taking place. But what did we see? This cough, attack. It's so unfortunate that the People's Democratic Party, which I covered as a reporter, the People's Democratic Party, where I was elected as a National Public Secretary, can be reduced to the streets. It's unfortunate. There's no need going into the blame game. I think we should position the situation the way it is. Sophie, on this same platform between you and I don't want to go into the issue of NEC any longer. The lie they hold, the lie they don't hold. Like Bala Mohammed warned, the leaders of the party are at the door point of exiting. And that is the honest truth. Take it or leave it. That's the situation in which Damagum has pushed the party to. So it is, to me, a lazy man argument for you to begin to apportion blame to others, whereas we are the architect of the crisis. We were brought in as acting chairman through the provisions of the PDP constitution as amended in 2017. That's how you were brought in. Now, respect the position of that constitution. You are saying you are blaming other people. You put your foot on my own foot. And I said, take away your foot because you are matching me. You are telling me that, oh, you are sorry but you have refused to remove your foot from mine. I mean, to me, it's odious. And I don't see any sincerity in what Ambassador Ilyasu Damagum said at the BOT. How can he come around and be saying that, oh, leaders, even members of BOT, revert back to your own position as Deputy National Chairman and allow the North Central to bring a substantive chairman and let us see whether the challenges in the party will not abate. It's a straightforward matter. There's no need for pretense. No room for it.
Then good evening and thanks for joining us. Now this is Political Lens and I am Chukwuma Okoro. On the show today, acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Ilyasu Damagum, disagrees with National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba, says he is not authorized, that is, Debo is not authorized to speak on INEC rejection of NEC meeting notice. Oh well, the crisis within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has taken a turn for the worst, with the acting national chairman of the party, Ambassador Ilyasu Damagum, and the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, taking different positions on the directive by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that it will not observe its national convention slated for June 30, 2025, because communication inviting INEC was not co-signed by the national chairman and the national secretary. Well, at a media interactive session held on Sunday at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Honorable Debo Ologunagba, made it clear that the PDP had already informed INEC about the scheduled National Executive Committee meeting in line with the standard practice. However, he emphasized that the NEC meeting, which was not intended for elections or primaries, does not fall under the category of political events that will legally necessitate INEC's involvement. Ologunagba pointed out that the PDP had complied with all relevant regulations, including notifying INEC 21 days in advance as required by law. Well, Ologunagba accused INEC of attempting to undermine the PDP's internal processes. He questioned whether the Electoral Commission's actions were part of a broader political agenda, suggesting that INEC's interference was aimed at stifling opposition voices and pushing the country towards one-party state. He criticized the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, for allegedly manipulating INEC to weaken the opposition party, particularly the PDP, ahead of the 2027 general elections. Ologunagba's comments highlighted the growing tensions between the PDP and the Electoral Commission. While he dismissed social media reports suggesting that INEC had cancelled the PDP's NEC meeting, he firmly stated that INEC has no authority to cancel the party's meetings, underscoring that it is solely the party's prerogative to decide such matters. He reiterated the party's determination to hold its 100th NEC meeting as scheduled, describing any reports of cancellation as false and laughable. However, the party's internal unity has been shaken by a leadership crisis that has added another layer of complexity to the dispute. On June 23, 2025, that's yesterday, the acting national chairman of the PDP, Umar Damagum, issued a statement denouncing the comments made by Ologunagba regarding INEC's interference. Damagum described the press briefing as unauthorized and emphasized that Ologunagba has spoken without approval of the National Working Committee of the party. Now I see bedlam coming. The acting chairman made it clear that the party's position on the matter will be addressed through internal channels rather than public statements. Well, Damagum's statements further criticized Ologunagba for acting prematurely and without consulting the party's leadership, which had already scheduled a meeting with INEC to resolve the concerns raised about the NEC notice. He underscored the PDP's strength, that this strength lies in the unity, discipline, and adherence to due process, and that the party remains committed to conducting the 100th NEC meeting in line with democratic norms and constitutional provisions. The leadership crisis within the party, PDP, is likely to continue to play out in the coming days as the party seeks to navigate these internal challenges and external pressures. We recall that the former National Public Secretary, Kola Olobodiyan, had accused the national chairman, Umar Damagum, as the main character behind the crisis in the party. Well, let's bring in our guests as we are joined in the studio here in Lagos by Elder Abraham Ama. He's a member of the PDP National Executive Committee as well as the state chairman of the Abia PDP. Good evening, Elder Abraham, and thanks for joining us on Political.
It's my pleasure to join you, Chukwuma.
Yeah, we appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Now, let's kick into it quickly. We are here again. What's going on in your party? The botched NEC meeting has been rescheduled for June 30th. What more should we know about the forthcoming NEC meeting? What more should we know? The internal crisis, the internal wranglings within the party, talk about the position of national secretary, talk about the problem in the southeast, talk about the coalition. What more should we know? Is the NEC going to hold?
Well,
because we seem to have different opinions, you know.
As of today, the major development today is that there was an interface by a high-power delegation of members of the party, made up of members of the National Working Committee, NEC members, and of course members of the Governors Forum, and about 3-4 governors, and also the former Senate President,
Bukola Saraki,
the distinguished Senator Bukola Saraki.
Okay.
There was an interface involving these high-powered party officials, party members, with INEC today, and the bone of contention was to discuss, to interface with NEC, to make certain things very, very clear to them. And after that meeting, I am very glad to inform you that the position is very simple. INEC had made it very, very clear that the tenure of Anyanwu will expire during the next national convention. The next national convention, which is scheduled to take sometime in December. That is when the tenure will expire. So that position has been made very, very clear. And then coming back to a recent statement credited to the acting national chairman of the party, consigning an earlier statement released by the national publicity secretary of the party, Debo. The position of the chairman is clear, very, very clear. At some point, I was the acting secretary of the PDP in Abia State, and of course,
acting publicity secretary
in Abia State. At some point in time, I did that job together. I was elected in the Congress as the state vice chairman.
Okay.
But when the publicity secretary resigned to contest an election and then come back, I was assigned to handle the two portfolio, which I did. And to the best of my knowledge, what happens is that once, before a national secretary of a political party, or the national publicity secretary of a political party, or even the publicity secretary of a party in the state can issue any statement, the first thing that happens is that that statement must receive clearance from the National Working Committee. From the National Working Committee. And if that has to do with the state, of course, it must receive clearance with the State Working Committee. It is therefore improper and out of place, unacceptable for Debo, in his capacity as National Publicity Secretary, to issue a statement without clearance of the National Working Committee. It is not his place. And it becomes even more worrisome when he makes such statements and in such a statement try to misrepresent issues. In the first place, it was the People's Democratic Party that wrote INEC. INEC did not compel the PDP to write to them. It was the PDP, after a NEC meeting, that took a decision to write INEC. And in writing INEC, they informed INEC about the upcoming 100 NEC meeting of the party. That is exactly what happened. And it was not as if to say INEC came out to say it is a must that you must write us. It was the party that wrote INEC. And what INEC simply did was to tell the party that based on the law, because when we talk about the law here, we are looking at the constitution of the party. We are also looking at the Electoral Act. We are also looking at the Electoral Act. And the position of the Electoral Act is that for a political party to hold congresses, conventions, and even NEC meetings where elections will take place or where replacement of officers will take place, that particular meeting for that such meetings that the party must inform INEC.
Okay.
And those who prompted the idea of informing INEC of the forthcoming NEC meeting, they did that because they had some interior motive. That interior motive, they wanted to use the opportunity of that meeting to displace distinguished Senator Anyanwu as the National Secretary. That was their aim. That was their motive. Because otherwise, if it was just a NEC meeting where people will come and discuss issues about policy of the party or about administration, it would not have been.
So essentially, Elder, what you are saying is that PDP didn't even need to inform INEC about the convention.
This is the position of the law. Electoral Act 2022, Section 82(1) says every registered political party shall give the commission at least 21 days notice of any convention, congress, conference, or meeting convened.
Congress, conference, or meeting convened.
Convened for the purposes of 1. Electing members of its executive committee or nominating candidates for any of the elective offices specified under the Act. The key phrase here is that convened for the purpose of electing members of its executive committee or nominating candidates. The interpretation is simple. A political party must notify INEC in writing if the next meeting is convened to elect officials or nominate candidates.
So essentially, Debo Ologunagba is right.
No, listen.
You know why I asked? Because the next meeting scheduled for 30th is not necessarily, to conduct elections. Or what? Why is that argument against him?
No. Listen. The position is that during the 99th meeting, they came up and stage managed something which did not go well with many of us. They proposed a motion, and that motion was seconded. And by the time some persons tried to say, to give reasons why that motion was not properly presented or why that motion should be stayed. In fact, they ruled on that motion.
What was the meat of the motion?
The motion was that the acting national chairman, that the NEC is authorizing him to write a letter to INEC for the next meeting. For the 100 meeting. So those who were sponsoring that had something in mind which they wanted to achieve with the next meeting. And what they had in mind was to simply come to that meeting and displace Anyanwu. That was what they had in mind.
How would they have done that?
Well, how they would have done that in that same meeting.
I mean, if there was full communication
in that same
about
meeting, in our folders was a report from a section of Southeast which had made a proposal to NEC for the replacement of Senator Anyanwu, whereas myself and others have also met in a meeting of Southeast stakeholders and also proposed the fact that the office of Anyanwu does not need any replacement. You understand? So there was a question that why do we have the position of a particular faction in the file of the meeting, and then the other position presented by our group was not there, and that who is trying to fool who? And they said, well, even though it's in the file, that the matter is not coming up for discussion on that day, that it will be on the next. So the same people were moving because it will have been the position of Debo in that first meeting to come up, since he was one of those managing the situation, to say no, that we don't need to notify INEC. But this is a situation whereby the party has written INEC, and INEC is simply saying that we cannot. INEC is not the position of INEC is not.
So it is not statutory that INEC must observe the NEC schedule for.
Yes, it's not statutory. And INEC, the position of INEC is not like you will not hold your meeting. These things have been misinterpreted. The position of INEC is simple. I don't recognize the letter you have written to me.
So I won't come.
I don't recognize the letter you have written to me.
So I will not come. And even if I don't come, it doesn't mean anything.
I don't recognize the letter because
I'm sorry, Chairman. So INEC is saying, because you have not properly notified me, I will not come.
Number one, yes.
And even if I don't come, it doesn't matter anything because there is not the statutory requirement.
No, it
because
matters. It matters to the extent.
Elections? Okay.
It matters to the extent that if in the said NEC meeting, people go beyond
their brief,
okay, policy matters, administrative matters, and begin to talk about replacement of officer, it will not matter. So whatever they do in that meeting will become null and void.
Okay, if INEC doesn't observe.
Yes.
So why the bedlam? Why is the bedlam between Damagum and
listen, every organization have a system of operation. Okay. The position of Damagum is simple. You understand? As an acting national chairman, even as chairman of PDP in Abia, I don't just come in the dailies and open the dailies and start reading the press release of my own state chapter of the party. You understand? Okay. When others are reading it, I'm not privy to it. I know nothing about it. Other members of the state working committee know nothing about it. That is his position. His position is saying that there is no way, even if there is no way you could have gone to the press to provide this kind of information when it was not. See, this is not the first time Debo have done that. You understand? Some months ago, Abia PDP suspended somebody for anti-party activity. Senator Nwambara.
Okay.
The meeting where Nwambara was suspended took place around 1 p.m. By 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. on the same day, Debo have issued a statement on behalf of NWC, even when it is clear that NWC never met. He has issued a statement to counter what we did, and that is not the tradition of the party, because Nwambara has the right, Senator Nwambara has the right to appeal to the National Working Committee.
Okay.
And upon his appeal, the National Working Committee will write Abia PDP
for clarifications
and possibly inviting us to come with our facts.
Okay.
We will go. You understand? They will now want to know, why did you
do this?
It never happened. Okay. And yet it went away. So you see, this thing happened even in corporate Nigeria. If it is not the decision of the board, it is not the decision of the board.
Okay. Now, in all of this, is it not embarrassing and speaks to the division, the internal crisis within the party, that two principal officers of a party that is struggling to put itself together are disagreeing openly on a very simple issue?
Don't say it is not Debo versus our national chairman.
No, but that is what it looks like.
No. That might be the interpretation of some quarter. It's not the.
No, many people are saying that.
Listen. It is Debo not doing his work the way he ought to do it.
Okay, so don't you think that? So don't you think that there are some, sorry,
excuse
Chairman.
Me, sir.
Sorry,
it is
Chairman.
Debo.
Don't you think that there are some elements that are pushing Debo to do this? Yes. I like the fact that you talked about the fact that, look, some people might have sinister ideas, about what might happen, and so that was why they essentially communicated INEC. So doesn't it look like the PDP, even the principal officers, serving officers, are divided instead of trying to work together to salvage the party?
I agree with you. The question is left for Debo to tell the party, whose music are you dancing to? You are dancing. We see you dancing. Each time you keep dancing. Who is playing this music you are dancing? And why are you deliberate?
Okay, on doing that.
In doing what you are doing.
Okay, all right.
Chairman, why are you doing it?
I like the fact that we got to this angle. Now, does it look like Eli Adamagun is also dancing in music, and who is playing it? Because you heard Kola Olobodiyan say, look, Eli Adamagun is clearly the problem of the PDP. So who is playing the music for him that he's dancing?
As I said, I believe in issues.
Okay.
The issue before us is the action of Debo.
And the
reaction of Debo.
And the reaction of Ilya.
And the reaction of the
national
so
there are two main characters in this issue.
Yes. So, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the party is concerned, Debo acted without consideration of the powers vested to his office.
Okay, so there's a certain music that is playing for
You
him.
understand? He acted. Now
I'm
the
sorry,
national chairman,
there's a
the acting national chairman.
certain music that is playing for Debo.
You understand? So the national chairman is was only trying to play a corrective measure in these particular issues, because I would prefer to react to issues. I will not come here or
No, you raised the issue of Debo playing to a music, dancing to a music, and you don't know who is playing for him. And I was like, maybe Damagum is also dancing to a music.
To the music of the party's constitution.
Okay, the party's constitution.
Yes, to the party's constitution.
But you just read the constitution, and it looks like Debo Ologunaba is right.
No, listen. There is a foundation.
He even read the electoral law, which supersedes the party's
He's supposed to be the spokesperson.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be the image maker of the party.
Okay.
I am just telling you that the party met.
Okay.
You understand? I have followed up your programs.
Okay.
You have discussed that meeting extensively
Okay.
in this media organization. Now, in that meeting, a decision was taken. You understand? To write the INEC. That was the right time for, you understand, as a member of the National Working Committee, the board, the management, those is an arm of the party saddled with the management of the party. It was at that point that Debo should have told them that we don't need to write INEC. Okay. Why are we writing INEC? That do we have the intention of conducting any election, replacing any officer or what?
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
He did not do that until INEC came and said, your letter is not recognized by us.
Okay,
and now you now attack INEC.
We understand all of that. Nigerians are hoping that the PDP will settle their internal wranglings, the crisis, because Nigerians are also overwhelmed that, look, the PDP that should play the role of an active and viral opposition is bedeviled with all these wranglings. Now, some people have also said that, look, that the powers, that are causing these problems will ensure that the National Convention that you talked about to hold in December 2025 might never hold.
Well, our National Convention, the date has not been taken as at today,
okay.
But our National Convention will hold. And I also want to tell you that we have come to the end of the tunnel.
Okay, to the end of the crisis?
Yes, we have come to the end because many of us were looking forward to come to this level. As of today, I want to assure you that any other NEC meeting,
okay,
Anyanwu, distinguished Senator Anyanwu will automatically play his role.
Okay, distinguished Senator Anyanwu, and you think there will be another fight like we had the other time between Sunday Udokoye and where there were fisticuffs?
No. We have never had a NEC meeting where there were any kind of fighting.
So what happened when Udokoye was locked out?
No. Some elements went to the party to do something. It was not a NEC meeting.
Okay, it wasn't a NEC meeting.
It was not a NEC meeting.
Okay.
You understand? It was not a NEC meeting.
What was it, sir?
I don't know what it was.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but it was not.
Okay, now
we
are questioning home. Let's leave the convention and the NEC meeting. Like I said, Nigerians are hoping that the PDP will sort itself out.
That is happening very soon.
Now, in the past 3 months, we have seen 2 governors from the south, Delta and Akwa Ibom leave the PDP. And we hear talks that Bayelsa might join, Enugu might join. What is going on? And we see all these things happening in the south. Why is it that the governors in the north are not leaving the PDP? Why the south? Why so?
Well, it's not. I don't know. They know why they are acting the way they are acting, and they are in a better position to tell the world why they are acting or behaving, the way they are going about it.
Okay.
But one thing is very, very clear. It doesn't show any kind of integrity. You are telling, it doesn't talk. It doesn't show any pedigree. One thing is very, very sure, that something is wrong somewhere. But these personalities should be able to tell their story. But this is not also the first time this is happening in Nigeria. Over the years, we have seen this happen, where people, for some obvious reason, want to get themselves associated with the powers in the center.
Okay.
You understand? This is not the first time. When we go back
I know this is not the first time, but it is clearly concerning. It is also troubling that it is happening just in the south.
Well, you see, one of the reasons why it's happening in the south, which I think is You see, the 2027 election, some persons are, in some school of thought, sees this as an election between the North and the South. You understand? They look at it as an election between the North and the South. And you have these alignments going on. You understand? In that direction. That is exactly what is happening. You know, the problem of PDP started when we failed to nominate somebody from the South to fly our flag.
From the South or from the Southeast?
No, we are talking about North and South. You introduce the matter of South, you understand? Okay. When political parties, particularly the PDP, when we zone positions, we don't zone positions to senatorial zones, to geopolitical zones.
Okay.
We zone, like now, we are talking about, before the convention, 2 committees will be set up. Okay. And one of them is National Convention Committee. Okay. Then the other one is Zoning Committee. Okay. Now, in our party, the way it is done, we don't, when we talk about zoning committee, they don't zone any position to Southeast. They don't zone any position to Southwest.
Okay, they just do it North and South.
They do it North and South. Then the leaders, the stakeholders in the South will sit somewhere and zone to the 3 geopolitical zones in the South.
Okay.
And then, after that, the zones like Southeast will go to Enugu.
Okay.
And do their own arrangements and zone to the 5 states.
Okay, so I'm happy that we are at this point now. So since 1999, the PDP hasn't found it appropriate to zone their presidency to the Southeast. 3 times it has come to the South. South took 1, Southwest took twice. And the PDP doesn't see any problem with
you say when you say Southwest took twice. What? Yes. How do you mean?
Obasanjo?
Under PDP.
Okay, Obasanjo took, yes.
Under PDP, Obasanjo, who again from Southwest?
So why did Wike reject the 2023 zoning?
No, you see, we had Obasanjo from Southwest.
Okay.
And after that, we had Yaradua.
No, we're talking about the South now. After that, we had Jonathan from the South.
And
when it came to 2023, Wike insisted that it shouldn't go to Southeast. Why? Is the PDP comfortable with all of that?
I am not aware whether Wike insisted that it should not go to the Southeast. I'm not aware of that information. Okay. I am probably hearing it for the first time.
Okay.
But I am aware that the FCT minister, the former governor of Rivers State, was one of those who insisted that the position should be zoned to the South. Because as I said again...
But we hear that article said, look, if it is going to the South, it must go to the Southeast, otherwise I'm in. And
it has never been the tradition of our party.
Okay.
You understand? Atiku was trying, with due respect to him, he was trying to do the work. If he ever said that, he was trying to do
the work of the South.
Of the South. It was not his place. You understand? It has always been the tradition of our party to zone position to the north and zone to the south.
Okay.
That is what we have always done. Like it is expected. And to do that is very easy. Most positions in the north today will eventually come to the south after the National Convention.
Okay, all right, Chairman, let's get very personal now. We have just 1 minute left. When you congregate at the NEC meeting and you hear that this governor has left, this other person has left, 3 senators from KB have left, how do you people feel at the NEC meeting?
No, I think the sensitivity begins at home. Even before the NEC, there is a state.
Okay.
So even as a state chairman, when I hear that a member of my party have left, I feel bad.
Okay.
I feel bad. But at the same time, we as a party continue to work hard and to woo others to come in.
Okay.
Because we always believe there's a very popular thing in the Bible which says that his place let another man take.
Okay.
So we believe that when people leave.
So when people leave, does it become a serious talking point for you at their meetings at the NEC?
Yeah, even before NEC.
Okay.
At every level of the party, even at the local government. You understand? It is a management issue everywhere, even in the corporate world. You understand?
Like when you have a very valuable staff that is leaving.
Key staff, you understand? You do something. That is why the corporate Nigeria is more organized than the political party, because the contract binding these workers make it mandatory that before you leave, you provide 1 month notice.
Okay.
But in the political party, people will go with our mandate. They will go with our property.
Okay.
This laptop, I can see VOP on this laptop. You are leaving tomorrow, you go with it. You understand? And they do that in political party. But if you do it in the corporate Nigeria, it's called stealing.
Okay.
It's called stealing. You understand? You are not supposed to live with what belongs to them.
Essentially, because of what we see, the parties are hamstrung, more like they can't do anything about it.
Of course, you understand? And the issue is that even the National Assembly and the presidency are not doing enough. And when I say the National Assembly and the presidency, I don't mean from the time of Akpabio or from the time of President Bola Tinubu.
Unfortunately,
from the very, very beginning, they are not doing enough to make sure, because they should have been laws that as you are
living
automatically
you leave the party.
Go as a person and support who you want to support.
Okay, unfortunately, Elder Abraham, we are out of time. We have to end this conversation. I think we can do this some other time so that we expand the discussion and the talking points and all of that. We appreciate your presence.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Well, this would be a good place to anchor this conversation. We'll be speaking with Elder Abraham Ama, who is a member of the National Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as well as the state chairman of Abia State PDP. We appreciate you and thanks for coming to Political Lens, sir.
My pleasure.
Now, on behalf of the backroom staff, the technical director, ingest manager, sound engineer, and the bass engineer, I am Chukwuma Okoro. Up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo. Stay with us and don't go away. And have a very wonderful evening.